Thank you for being here today to explore one of the most crucial decisions any aspiring author will face: how to bring your book into the world. For centuries, there was really only one path. You wrote your manuscript, you sent it to publishers, and you hoped, sometimes for years, that someone would say yes. But today we live in what I call the golden age of authorial independence. The question is no longer, can I publish my book, but rather, how do I want to publish my book? Let me start with a story. A friend of mine spent 3 years writing a brilliant thriller. She sent query letters to 47 agents. 47. She received 43 rejections, and 4 never responded at all. She was ready to give up. Then she discovered self-publishing, released her book on Amazon, and within 18 months had sold over 5,000 copies. Now, I'm not saying this happens to everyone. It doesn't. But it illustrates something fundamental. The gatekeepers are no longer the only path to readership. So let's talk about traditional publishing first, because it still has its place and its merits. When you sign with a traditional publishing house, you're gaining access to an entire infrastructure. There's an editor who will work with you to refine your manuscript, a cover designer who understands market trends, a marketing team with industry connections, and most importantly, distribution networks that can get your book into physical bookstores. For many authors, seeing their book on a shelf in a bookstore remains a powerful dream, and traditional publishing makes that significantly easier to achieve. Traditional publishers also bring credibility. Whether we like it or not, there's still a perception among some readers, reviewers, and literary prize committees that traditionally published books have passed through a quality filter. This can open doors to media coverage, book reviews in major publications, and speaking opportunities that might be harder to secure as a self-published author. And let's not forget, they pay you in advance. Yes, it's often modest unless you're already famous, but it's money up front, before your book sells a single copy. For some authors, this advance is what allows them to take time off work to write their next book. But here's where we need to be honest about the challenges of traditional publishing. First, the odds. The statistics are sobering. A major publishing house might receive 10,000 manuscript submissions in a year and publish perhaps 20 debut authors. That's a success rate of 0.2%. And even if you do get accepted, the timeline is glacial. From acceptance to publication, you're typically looking at 18 months to 2 years. In our fast-paced world, that's an eternity. Then there's creative control, or rather, the lack of it. Once you sign that contract, many decisions are no longer yours. The title of your book? They might change it. The cover? You'll get some input, but the final decision isn't yours. The marketing strategy? That's their domain. And if your book doesn't sell well in the first few months, the publisher will likely move on to their next releases, leaving your book to fade into obscurity. The financial reality is also challenging. Traditional publishers typically offer royalties of 10 to 15% of the cover price for print books and 25% for ebooks. So if your book sells for $20, you might earn $2 to $3 per copy after you've earned back your advance. And remember, you're splitting any remaining proceeds with your agent, who typically takes 15% of your earnings. Now let's shift our focus to self-publishing, because this is where the landscape has transformed dramatically and where I believe some exciting opportunities exist today. Self-publishing means you are the publisher. You make every decision. You control every aspect of your book's journey from manuscript to reader. And in 2025, the tools available to self-published authors are extraordinary. Let's start with the financial advantages, because they're substantial. On Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing, for example, you can earn 70% royalties on ebooks priced between $2.99 and $9.99. Think about that. If you price your ebook at $4.99, you earn approximately $3.50 per sale. Compare that to the $1.25 you might earn from a traditionally published ebook. You'd need to sell nearly 3 times as many copies through traditional publishing to earn the same income. And it's not just Amazon. There's Apple Books, Kobo, Google Play Books, and services like Draft2 Digital that distribute to multiple platforms simultaneously. You can also create print-on-demand paperbacks through Amazon KDP or Ingram Spark, which means your book can be available in both digital and physical formats without you having to invest thousands of dollars in inventory sitting in your garage. The speed is another enormous advantage. With self-publishing, you can go from finished manuscript to published book in a matter of weeks, or even days if you're truly ready. This agility is invaluable. You can capitalize on trends, respond to current events, or simply get your work to eager readers without years of waiting. Creative control is entirely yours. You choose your cover, and you can change it if it's not working. You set your price, and you can run promotions whenever you want. You write your book description, you choose your categories and keywords, you decide on your marketing strategy. This freedom is intoxicating for many authors who have a clear vision for their work. Let's talk about the long-term potential. With traditional publishing, if your book doesn't perform immediately, it's essentially over. The publisher remainders the copies, and your book disappears from bookstores. But with self-publishing, your book can have an indefinite lifespan. I know authors who published books 5 or 6 years ago that continue to generate steady income month after month, year after year. You can keep marketing, keep refining your approach, and keep building your readership at your own pace. The data and insights you receive as a self-published author are also remarkable. You can see exactly how many copies you're selling, where your readers are located, which marketing efforts are working, and which aren't. This information allows you to make informed decisions and continuously improve your approach. Traditional publishers rarely share this level of detail with their authors. There's also the community aspect. The self-publishing world has developed vibrant, supportive communities. There are forums, Facebook groups, podcasts, courses, and conferences entirely dedicated to helping self-published authors succeed. Authors share strategies, support each other's launches, and collaborate in ways that simply don't exist in the more isolated world of traditional publishing. Now, I would be misleading you if I didn't acknowledge the challenges of self-publishing because they're real and significant. You are responsible for everything. That means you need to either develop skills in editing, cover design, formatting, and marketing, or you need to hire professionals to do these things, which costs money. A professional editor might charge anywhere from $500 to $3,000 or more, depending on the length and condition of your manuscript. A quality cover designer might charge $300 to $500. These are investments you'll need to make up front, with no guarantee of return. Marketing is perhaps the biggest challenge. Traditional publishers have relationships with bookstores, connections with media outlets, and experience running campaigns. As a self-published author, you're starting from scratch. You need to build your own audience, manage your own social media presence, perhaps run your own advertising campaigns on platforms like Amazon Ads or Meta. This requires time, energy, and often a learning curve that can feel overwhelming. And yes, there's still some stigma. It's diminishing rapidly, but some readers, reviewers, and literary establishments still view self-published work with skepticism. You may find it harder to get reviewed by major publications or considered for certain literary prizes. So, given all of this, what should you do? How do you decide? Here's my advice. Consider self-publishing if you value independence, if you're entrepreneurial by nature, if you want to move quickly, and if you're willing to invest time and possibly money into learning the business side of publishing. Self-publishing is ideal if you're writing in a genre with strong ebook sales, like romance, mystery, science fiction, or fantasy. Or if you have a niche nonfiction topic where you can directly reach your target audience. Self-publishing also makes sense if you've been rejected by traditional publishers, but you believe in your work. Maybe it doesn't fit neatly into commercial categories. Maybe it's ahead of its time. Maybe it's just not what publishers are buying right now. None of that means it won't find readers who love it. Consider traditional publishing if you dream of seeing your book in physical bookstores. If you want the validation and credibility that comes with editorial selection, if you prefer to focus solely on writing and let others handle the business side, or if you're writing in a category where traditional publishing still dominates, like literary fiction or children's picture books. But here's something many people don't realize. It's not necessarily an either-or decision for your entire career. Many successful authors today use a hybrid approach. They might traditionally publish some books while self-publishing others. They might start with self-publishing to build an audience and then attract traditional publishers with proven sales. Or they might do the reverse, build credibility through traditional publishing and then transition to self-publishing for better financial returns. The landscape is also blurring in interesting ways. We're seeing the rise of what's called assisted self-publishing or author services companies, businesses that provide some of the support of traditional publishing while giving authors more control and better royalties than traditional contracts. Let me conclude with this thought. We're living in an unprecedented time for authors. Never before have writers had so much power to connect directly with readers. Never before has it been possible to build a sustainable writing career entirely on your own terms. Yes, self-publishing requires more work from you. Yes, it comes with risks and challenges. But it also offers freedom, financial opportunity, and creative control that previous generations of authors could only dream about. The traditional publishing model isn't dying, it's evolving. And self-publishing isn't a consolation prize for those who can't make it traditionally. It's a legitimate, powerful, and often preferable path for authors who want to build their own businesses and connect with readers on their own terms. Whatever path you choose, remember this. The most important thing is not how you publish, but that you do publish. The world needs your stories. Your voice matters. And now, more than ever, you have the power to ensure that your voice is heard.